All right, and this is for group 4 here. You want to take some good notes here because you're going to use these to teach another group in a minute. So your learning target is, I can analyze the graph of a function. So the other groups are going to talk about how to determine if something is a function, and you're going to take a graph and analyze it. So we just have to recap what these potential vocab words mean and see if you can find them from a graph. So the first thing we're going to talk about are x-intercepts, all right? And x-intercepts are where the graph crosses the x-axis, all right? So when I look at my graph here, it's crossing the x-axis here and here. So we want to figure out what two values that would be. Well, it looks like -1 and +2. So my x-intercepts are -1 and +2. You can have multiple x-intercepts in a function, all right? The y-intercept, though, you can only have one in a function, and when you get to your group, ask the group who talked about determining functions from a graph why you can only have one y-intercept if it's going to be a function, okay? So for the y-intercept, we're looking where the graph crosses the y-axis, all right? And that would be here. So the y value there would be 4, all right? So x-intercepts are where the graph crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. The next question is asking about maximum. So that would be the highest y value shown on your graph. If you have more than one, and it's possible for you to have more than one, they're at the same height, then that would be called maxima. That's how you say the plural of a maximum. Not maximums, but maxima. So if we look at our graph here, the highest y value we reach is that peak right there. It also happens to be the y-intercept. That won't always be the case. All right, and that is going to be 4. And in this case, it happens at x equals 0, right? So only one spot there that could be the maximum. The minimum value, however, is the lowest y value shown on the graph. So when I go and look at this graph, the lowest y value I see is down here at -4. And it's not just one point, right? It's here, 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 and every single thing in between, all right? So the minimum value is -4, and it happens from when x is -7 to when x is -2, right? So it happens, you can see that here, from when x is -7 to when x is -2. That value is giving you a minimum the whole time. All those points are the lowest we can possibly get to. So you could also say between, you actually list out those points. This would be the point -7 and -4, and this would be the point -2, -4, okay? So when we talk about minimum value or maximum value, if there are more than one, you can talk about either listing those specific points or giving a range of those points. What's the first one and the last one that we see if they're all connected, okay? The other thing we want to talk about are the increasing and decreasing portions of the graph. So for increasing, you can see this little guy over here. You want to look for places where as x increases, y increases. So as we go to the right on our graph, where is the graph increasing? Where is it going up, right? Where would it have like a positive slope? And for decreasing, as we go to the right on our graph, where is the graph actually going down? Okay, so for increasing, let's look at this graph here. Let me get rid of some of this, all these things we don't need. Okay, so I'm going to start on the left-hand side. As we go increase from -7 to -2, nothing happened there, no change, so we'll leave that for a minute. As I get to this point here, though, as my x's are still going forward, my graph is now going up, right? And it goes up to that point there. So from -2, -4 to 0, 4, our graph is increasing. So I want to write that interval down. So from -2, -4 to 0, 4, our graph increases, all right, from here to here. And then right after we get to 0, 4, as the x values keep getting bigger, now that graph is going down, right? So this portion is decreasing. Oh, excuse the announcement.
Good morning and welcome to second semester. Some of you may have student schedules in your mailboxes for your first period class today, so make sure you check your mailbox if you haven't already done so. Thank you.
Sorry, skip over that. So from 0, 4 to 3, -2, oopsies, what am I doing? That, between those 2 points, we are decreasing on the graph. So from 0, 4 to 3, -2. And then the other portions of the graph here, let's get a different color. If they're just horizontal, those would be constant, okay? So there's no change there. So we want to list out the intervals right there, and those would be called constant intervals when there's no change, all right? So from -7, -4 to -2, -4, that's the first one. And then it's also constant from 3, -2 to 8, -2, right? So from 3, -2 to 8, -2, all right? And so once you've done that, then you've really analyzed your entire graph, picking apart those things, okay? So you're looking for where the graph crosses the x-axis for an x-intercept, graph crosses the y-axis for a y-intercept. A maximum value is the highest y value. Minimum value is the lowest y value. Increasing is where your graph would go up from left to right, so always read it from left to right. And decreasing is when your graph would go down from left to right. And then constant is when you go from left to right across your graph and there's no change, okay? No change in direction. So go ahead and give that a try on some